All right, so let's go on to the next topic, which is they announced this week that Jon Jones is going to fight Gustafsson. And Matt, you had mentioned that you wanted to see a particular fighter fight Jon Jones, and that was Cormier. Cormier, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, were you disappointed when that was announced, or just kind of just like, all right, whatever?
Well, I mean, Jones-Gustafsson was the 2013 fight of the year, so as a fight fan, I can't be disappointed that these two guys are squaring off again. Gustafsson Gustafsson won 2 of the 5 rounds. The closest fight Jones has been in. I don't like Jon Jones, so I want to see the guy lose. And the reason that I wanted to see Cormier fight Jones was because I think Cormier is the guy that's going to beat Jones. But I'm not disappointed to see Gustafsson fight Jones again. It was a great fight. It was a competitive fight. You got 2 guys that are freakishly tall for the weight division, similar reaches. I mean, so no, I'm going to enjoy the fight. Disappointed, no. I don't know why. I just Gustafsson might change up his game plan a little bit, but if he doesn't, I think it's going to end up being the same outcome. And so I just got to wait a little longer than I'd like to see Cormier whoop some Jon Jones' ass.
Great.
I guess I got 2 thoughts. First, I like closure on things, and I feel like Jon Jones and Alexander Gustafsson did not have closure on their last fight. There's too much uncertainty with so many experts, so many people saying Alexander Gustafsson won that fight, so many people saying Jon Jones won this fight. Let's have them fight, and I want to see somebody knock somebody out, somebody win a bell-to-bell decision, somebody submit somebody, TKO, whatever it might be, just so we can put a stamp on that, put it in the past, move on to the next one, whatever it may be. Agree with everything Matt said. Best fight of 2013, hands down. A title fight, 5 rounds, razor thin. So who can't be excited to see that? But the other thing I fear about having Gustafsson fight Jon Jones, are we gonna have another Frankie Edgar, Gray Maynard type of situation where it's so close you have to have them fight again? And you can't have Daniel Cormier, who has obviously earned the title shot, sit around for a year and a half and just have that whole division in flux, because these two can't decide that they want to, finish one another. So I think Cormier presents the bigger challenge for Jon Jones and is the bigger threat. I love the fact that Daniel Cormier is talking shit about Jon Jones and was no problem getting in his face and saying all this stuff. I think leading up to that fight, it's going to be a hell of a lot more interesting. So I'd have to say I'm a little more interested in that fight, but I have absolutely no plans or no bones about seeing Gustafsson and Bones Jones fight again. So,
okay, I was a little disappointed. I wanted to see the Cormier fight because I look at it as like in boxing, where you have the Marquez Pacquiao 5 or 6 or whatever the hell fight they're on now. Or are talking about. I don't want to keep seeing those 2 fight. You know what I mean? And I understand that you want to go through the trilogy, but I usually don't like seeing back-to-back fights of the same people. You know what I mean? I kind of like to see one person fight this one, and go a couple, maybe even a year between the fight, and then see if they can grow and change or evolve. Because sometimes styles make fights, and that particular person's style just may match up well with that person, but I want to see if another style will match it. And with Cormier's, Olympic wrestling, I just want to see how he's going to, how that's going to happen, how that fight is going to unravel. Basically, who's going to win? Who's going to be the more dominant? Can I put my style of fight against your style of fight, and then who's going to be the person who ends up coming out? That's pretty much that's why I was kind of a little disappointed when they announced it. It was just kind of like, all right, but here's what it is.
But now, I heard Gustafsson's agreed to it, and Bones Jones has not yet. I heard they're waiting on a contract extension with Jon Jones, and that fight isn't signed off on yet.
I heard the same thing, actually, Greg. Yeah, I heard the same thing, that Jones's contract is still under negotiation. I heard that Gustafsson signed. I I don't know that Jones actually officially did, and I wasn't able to see anything from the UFC as to whether or not it's actually inked or not. But I know the date they're shooting for is the 30th of August. But
oh, really? Okay.
We could see something crazy happening, though. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time.
Let me throw a question back at you guys. What do they think about all this Jon Jones being scared of Alexander Gustafsson? What do you guys think of that?
I'm pretty sure it's the same type of people who said that Alexander Gustafsson had won the last fight who are saying these things that, because you get to a point where it's like, all right, I beat this guy, and everybody's saying I want to fight, I don't want to fight him again. But at the same time, it's like, all right, I beat this guy, but something in the back of your mind is saying that all these people want to see me lose, and now everybody's trying to force this close match on me again. I'm not necessarily afraid of him. I'm afraid of what the outcome may be. Like, I may feel like I beat the guy 4 rounds at 5, but people are just saying that Gustafsson won. You know what I mean? I think that's more so, and that's why you may be a little hesitant, like, man, they want to see me lose so bad, this, that, and that. And I think, I'm not going to get into the other part, but yeah, that's pretty much what I kind of lean toward. Because that'd take us down a whole other realm on that one.
I think Jon Jones is afraid of everybody. I think he's achieved a status in his mind where he doesn't fight to dominate anymore. I think he's fighting to sustain a legend status. Too early in his career, he was being compared to Anderson Silva, who's, in my opinion, the best MMA fighter of all time. And too early in his career, he was talking about kind of being, quote-unquote, the one. He tried to play this kind of role of being humble. He tried to play this role of being like the good guy or whatever, but a lot of people saw through it. I think it was fake. And I think he is afraid of Gustafsson. That was a gut check for him. He barely won that fight. In that fight, a couple of times between rounds, if I looked at Jones, I didn't see a guy who was hyped to be in the midst of a freaking great battle. I saw a dude who in the back of his mind was thinking, oh shit, like I'm about to lose everything that I busted my ass for. I saw the same look on his face when he fought Vitor. When Vitor had like a super basic armbar set up and almost fucking tore his arm off. Like, that was not a Jon Jones that's fighting to win. That's a Jon Jones who's fighting not to lose. And I think he's going to be scared of anybody that presents a little bit legitimate challenge. And that would be Gustafsson and especially Cormier.
So let me ask you this, Matt. That sounds like you are going to a Rocky 3 theme type of you lost that hunger. You lost the eye of the tiger. Do you think that's what it is? Because he's gotten to that point where he's got all the money, he's on TV, he's got people who want to sign autographs, and so you think he got to that comfortable level that fighters really don't need to be at?
Time out. Before you answer that, you got to ask, will Cormier wear the feathered earrings and mohawk like Clover Lang did in that? So, because that will be awesome.
I would love that.
The answer to Greg's question is I hope so. No, I mean, I think, and you can't blame the guy. He's a young guy, okay? He got super famous, super fast. I mean, it's not a coincidence that, Jones was literally given an interview probably about a month or two before he wrecked his Bentley driving into a telephone pole, where he was literally knocking people who drunk drive and getting wrecks, saying that he's not that type of athlete, that he's a positive role model, whatever, and a month later, he's on the front page of the newspaper for doing it. I mean, that's not a coincidence. Like, the dude is not have his head screwed on right. Like, you got all this money to buy a Bentley, you want to go get drunk, hire a freaking driver. Like, I mean, that's not a dude who's thinking straight. Call Uber.
Yes.
So, I don't know, man. I think he's got some, he needs to go see, like, a fight psychologist or something, because it's just not working for him mentally right now, I don't think.
So, Greg, do you think he's scared, or is he just living fat? You know, that fat cat eating too much, what you say, beer, drinking too much beer and potato chips?
Potato chips and beer. I don't know. I don't think Jon Jones is on that diet, but maybe in the off season. I think with MMA, it's you get these guys who go so far ahead of the crowd. You know, your Anderson Silvas, your Jon Jones, your George St. Pierre's here recently. You know, guys before them, your Matt Hughes. You know, your Rich Franklins, Chuck Liddells. And even if you look before then, your Hoist Gracies, people like that just jump so far out, I think it's only a matter of time before people catch up to the crowd. And the people that are catching up to the crowd are your Daniel Cormiers or your Anderson or Alexander Gustafssons. I mean, that gap between where Jon was at as compared to the crowd when he first came on the scene is a lot narrower now. And I think he sees that, and that scares him a little bit because, I mean, when you first saw Jon Jones, man, he was wrecking people, man. Just submission, knockouts. I mean, he finished and didn't have any fight that looked close. And now, you know, I watched his last fight with Glover Teixeira. Great fight. I mean, I thought Jones pretty much handily won it, but it wasn't in dominating fashion like he normally did. And I think Matt hit it. You know, he's fighting more not to lose than he is fighting to go out there and make a name for himself. So.
Okay. All right, let's go on to the next topic. And you know what? We're going to pause this for 1 second because I got to run and get something real quick.